right, so in our prelude, we covered Exodus chapter 7 and verse 17, and dealing with the arm and the rod, which reads, "Thus says Yahweh, in this you shall know that I am Yahweh. Behold, I will smite with the rod that is in my hand upon the waters which are in the river, and they shall be turned to blood." I was covering the rod and the arm in the prelude, and I mentioned that I was going to deal with this in the first video. This is that first video. So we're going to cover the waters being turned to blood, and we're also going to cover the frogs because they go together. So let's get right into it. So we see clearly, after dealing with the arm and the rod, we see that the Most High is going to smite with that rod that is in his hand, which is referring to Aaron's hand, the waters which are in the river, and they shall be turned to blood. So these waters in the river are going to be turned to blood. Okay, let's get a little bit more insight. Let's move down to verse 19. "And Yahweh spoke unto Moshe, saying to Aaron, Take your rod and stretch out your hand upon the waters of Mizraim, upon their streams, upon their rivers, and upon their ponds, and upon their pools of water, that they may become blood, and that there may be blood throughout all the land of Mizraim." It's basically giving it away there, but most people wouldn't catch that. "Both in vessels of wood and in vessels of stone." So from our prelude, we learned that the rod is a weapon of war, a particular weapon of war. So it's the rod per se that's in Aaron's hand. So Aaron possesses a particular, I'm going to say peculiar weapon of war, which is in his hands. And that weapon of war never changes. It's the nation of Israel. So from that, as we transition into our first plague, water being turned to blood, I want to deal with the speculations on this real quick. A lot of people just literally think it's literal water being turned magically into blood. That's from movies. The second one is, and it's actually better played out, they think it's literal war, and based upon the reading, it makes sense that Israelites were killing Egyptians and dumping them in the rivers, making the rivers red with the blood of the Mizraim. That would make more sense with this. However, there is actual biblical preceptual understanding that we're going to cover right now, because I don't like to deal with speculations. I just like to bring them up so we can compare them with what the Bible says. So we see that it mentions it's the waters of the Mizraim. Okay, that's the first thing. And then it also states that both in vessels of wood and in vessels of stone. That's key. And the other thing is that it also states upon streams, their rivers, and upon their ponds, and upon their pools of water. The difference between these streams, rivers, ponds, and pools of water is obvious. They are different sizes of water. The thing here, the fact that this Mizraim is going to have their streams, rivers, ponds, and pools of water, I'll say judged or smitten. This is talking about the actual Egyptians, because people are often referred to as water in the Bible. Here are some examples, and I'm going to use an example by the same man that wrote this book. He also wrote the book of Deuteronomy. Let's get that. Deuteronomy 29:17 through 18. And it states, not me, because I'm just going to quote it. Man, you scoffing, you making stuff up. It's your interpretation. Okay. And you have seen their abominations and their idols, wood and stone. Well, didn't we just see in Exodus with our first plague, it said both in vessels of wood and in vessels of stone, that this water is going to be turned into blood. Okay. We also have silver and gold, which were among them, lest there should be among you, here we go, man or woman or family or tribe whose heart turns away this day from Yahweh Eloheinu to go and serve the Elohai or gods of these nations, lest there should be among you a root that bears gall and wormwood, which is also connected to this topic. But I want to kind of go back. It says in verse 18, lest there be among you man or woman or family or tribe. That's specific, because the difference in this is just the size, man or woman, and then you have family, which then makes up a tribe, and then these collection of tribes makes up a nation. We have different sizes of people that we just saw over here in 7 and 19 of Exodus, where it mentions streams, rivers, ponds, and pools of water. Different increments or sizes of water. We have different increments or sizes of people. Okay, so before I actually go to the wormwood, there's another precept which actually shows people being referred to as water. Revelation 17 and 15. And he said unto me, the waters which you saw where the whore sits are peoples, multitudes, and nations and tongues. See the plurality here? It literally mirrors Deuteronomy, man, woman, family, tribes, which are the gods of these nations, when it refers to wood and stone, because that's their idols. Let's get a little bit of understanding on this gall and wormwood. We see this also in Revelation. Since we were already in this book, we're going to go to Revelation 8 and start at verse 10. And the third angel sounded, and there fell a great star from heaven, burning as it were a lamp, and it fell upon the third part of the rivers and upon the fountains of waters. And the name of the star is called wormwood. See the connection with the waters. And the third part of the waters became wormwood. This is another way of saying blood. And many men died of the waters because they were made bitter. So basically at this point, if we ask ourselves, what does water have to do with wormwood and its bitterness? Well, the answer's in the book of Lamentations. I'm just going to the book and I'm letting the book do the answering. We know the book can't talk. If you see a book talking, run, but in Lamentations chapter 3, you're going to start at verse 5. He has built against me and compassed me with gall and travail, just like gall and wormwood. Let's jump down to verse 15. He has filled me with bitterness. He has made me drunken with wormwood. Just, you see what I'm saying? It's connection. Verse 19. I'm just getting right to the point. Remembering my keyword affliction and my misery, the wormwood and the gall, my soul has them still in remembrance and is humbled in me. Okay, that's the definition of this blood, aka wormwood. It's dealing with affliction. See what I'm saying? Because that's what the Mizraim were doing to the nation of Israel. As stated in the first video, they were not homies, they were enemies. You had one nation riding down on the other nation. I mean, this book is even called the Book of Lamentations in the first place. The word lament means to be afflicted into. It's in connection with mourning, literal bitterness in life. Okay, it's not fun times. I have another example of this wormwood and gall, if you will, in the book of Jeremiah, chapter 9. We're going to start at verse 15. Now, this is directed against Israel this time, but it's the same plague, if you will. Therefore, thus says Yahweh, the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, behold, I will feed them, even this people. It tells you this people, Israel, with wormwood, and give them water of gall to drink. I will scatter them also among the heathen, whom neither they nor their fathers have known. I will send a sword after them till I have consumed them. See, sending other nations after them is in connection with being captives. Okay, just like they were in the land of Mizraim. And I will send a sword after them. This is not a sword of love and butterflies and rainbows. This is a sword of bitterness, pain, lamentation, the book we literally just left from. This is water, living water, being turned to blood. This being said, in vessels of wood and stone, this is the people of the Mizraim being turned into bitterness in connection with their idols. Just how it was prophesied against the children of Israel for worshiping these idols, they would have to deal with this madness that we literally just read. I will send a sword after them. It's the same thing in reverse, using the children of Israel, and it's directing the sword, or the weapon of war, the rod, against the Mizraim. The plagues are the plagues. It's just when, where, and how they're directed and who's doing it. The conductor is Aaron, having a staff, or the children of Israel, in his hand, and he's directing this warfare against the idols of the Mizraim, essentially spiritual warfare. Out of the mouth comes a two-edged sword. When you reveal the truth that these are the idols of the nations, you want to worship idols? Okay, let's see if they can save you from my hand. That's also in Jeremiah as it relates to Jacob's trouble. Let's see. Don't assume this is literal water being turned to literal blood, magical as you see in these movies. No.
Look! There! Where he struck the river. He bleeds. The water turns to blood.
It is a better bet, but it's still a guess to say this was a physical war against the Mizraim and Israel, because you're still speculating. That doesn't touch on the vessels of wood and stone. When you attach the vessels of wood and stone, you know that this is idolatry, and this is essentially spiritual warfare. It's strange how this is the first plague. That's like saying, oh, in Christianity, you reveal the truth of it. It's not of the Most High. Christmas is not of the Most High. Easter is not of the Most High. This is a spiritual warfare. That is idolatry. That's what this is. That's literally a living example of this particular plague. I have one final precept relating to the Mizraim's different streams, rivers, ponds, and pools of water, because we know that this is different sizes of smaller groups of the Egyptians. This is people. These people's vessels of wood and stone, which is their idols. I have one final precept again in Deuteronomy. We're going to start in chapter 12, verse 2. It says, "You shall utterly destroy all the places wherein the nations which you shall possess serve their Elohim, upon the high mountains and upon the hills and under every green tree." Punchline. "And you shall overthrow their altars and break their pillars and burn their Asherah poles with fire. And you shall hew down graven images of their Elohim and destroy names of them out of that place.
100 years of fame, time for your ass to go.
We're using the big.
Fuck this motherfucker right here. I'm gonna burn his ass up. Because see, this is what black people need to understand and realize. We gotta get rid of this cracker first. If we don't get rid of this cracker, hold up. Goddamn. Motherfucker don't wanna die.
We're gonna go from one house to
Yeah,
two houses
right.
to three houses.
3 houses. Hold on. My lighter tripping now. Oh, here we
That's
go.
a big.
We got him. No, this ain't no big. This that cheap store bought shit. But guess what? You gotta burn this motherfucking crack up. Get rid of this goddamn crack. Free your mind and the rest of father. Give me another one of them damn pictures. Here go corporate number 2. Another goddamn crack of Jesus. You have to free your mind of this motherfucker. Free your mind and the rest will follow. We burn his ass up too. Matter of fact, there's some more crack of Jesus. You got some more in there? Give me another crack of Jesus, please. That's it. There's 2. Goddamn, I should have had goddamn burned the whole stack.
This is what they were doing. This is spiritual warfare. It's revealing, hey, Sunday sun worship is pagan. It started back in Constantine woody woo woo. You go forth in that. You reveal it. It's literally real spiritual warfare, not that vague nonsense we hear in these modern day satanic religious organizations. Religion and idolatry today are synonymous. They are the same thing, which now kind of leads us to our second plague in dealing with these frogs. This one's pretty simple. I know I spent a lot of time on that, but that's how deep the rabbit hole goes. You know, I get tired of people speculating. I get sick and tired of people just listening to people. This is clearly showing. Moses does not leave us hanging, just like Daniel, every other prophet, or somebody having a dream, a vision, and needs interpretation. They will interpret it for us. Stop guessing and getting it wrong. Esau's the white man. That's a guess. You will not read that. Moving forward, okay? All right, so now as we transition to our second plague, we're going to go to chapter 8, verse 2 of Exodus. It says, if you refuse to let them go, behold, I will smite all your borders with frogs. Now, immediately people, their minds run to these movies. You see a gang of frogs everywhere, willy-nilly. Let's get some more understanding. And the river shall bring forth frogs abundantly, which shall go up and come into your house, and into your bedchamber, and upon your bed, and into the house of your servants, and upon your people, and into your ovens, and into your kneading troughs. All right. So, also in verse 4, and the frog shall come up both on you and upon your people and all your servants. So all I can say now is simply, let's just get some understanding about these frogs. So the book of Revelation actually does a lot of revealing. We're going to go to chapter 16, verse 13. And I saw 3 unclean spirits. Pay attention, okay? Like frogs. Is that not what we're talking about? This is the definition of these frogs. They came out of the mouth of the dragon. This book defines the dragon not as Esau, like a lot of groups will lie and tell you, but as Satan, okay, aka Leviathan, a spirit, not a nation of people, and out of the mouth of the beast. Now, a beast is a nation of people. See, Satan, the dragon, deals with nations. I've done a lesson on beasts, revealing beasts to be nations. They are not literal animals. So Satan, and out of the mouth of the beast, and out of the mouth of the false prophet. See, a false prophet is connected to idolatry, because idolatry is what false prophets teach in the first damn place, okay? False prophets teach that the Bible says that it's okay to eat whatever you want and it's cool with the Most High. Eat abominations if you want to. A false prophet will say it's okay and Christmas is justified by the Bible, and it's not in there unless it's condemning Christmas. It does that expressly. The list goes on and on. A false prophet will just have you believe in one thing and it's literally the opposite. Is if you can sin, though that law's done away with, but it's not in the book. It's nowhere in there. So this dragon is at the top, which is Satan. Then he has his beast, which is the nation that he's dealing with. It's not exclusive to Esau. These nations are nations, plural. Out of the mouth of the dragon, we have out of the mouth of the beast, and then we have out of the mouth. It's literally an order. You need a man at the bottom who's controlling the nation, which is led by Satan at the top. It's literally top, middle, bottom. That's what this is. And this frog is an unclean spirit by definition, connected to the idolatry or gods of the nations. JC, this book also tells you to be wary of false messiahs or false Christs, just like there was in Mizraim, gods of wood and stone. You have a false JC that's replacing the actual man that did certain acts, but that's another story. So in wrapping up our second plague, these frogs are not literal. They are unclean spirits derived from the idolatry identified in our first plague upon the waters or people of the Mizraim. Man, woman, family, the nation, the river. You see what I'm saying? In Ezekiel, actually, I skipped verse 18, not on purpose, but verse 18 mentions a fish in the river. Well, Ezekiel identifies, not me, but Ezekiel 29, starting at verse 3, which I didn't write, and this is not an interpretation. It's in black and white. It says, "Speak and say, thus says Adonai Yahweh, behold, I am against you, Pharaoh, king of Mizraim, the great dragon that lies in the midst of his own rivers." So we see the three unclean spirits that we literally just saw in Revelation. We have the Pharaoh, a man. Then we have the Mizraim, which is the beast, which is his nation, also known as the river. And the dragon, which is Satan. It's the 1, 2, 3 punch right there. But moving on, which has said, "My river is my own, and I have made it for myself. But I will put hooks in your jaws, and I will cause the fish of your rivers to stick into your scales, and I will bring you up out of the midst of your rivers, and all the fish of your rivers shall stick into your scales." So right there, like, this is all in writing. We don't need to be guessing and, oh, this is that's in connection with false prophecy. You see what I'm saying? So basically, in conclusion, the waters being turned to blood, we see that it's the nation of people, whether it be man, woman, family, tribe, nation, whatever. This is the waters. They're being turned to blood because they're being made bitterness in connection with their idolatry. Those idols are being smashed, as we also read in Deuteronomy. Okay, this is also in connection with the unclean spirits like unto frogs. We see what these frogs actually are. It's not little. For a bunch of frogs running through a land is not going to destroy it. Literal water being literally turned to blood is magic. You have to have precepts to get understanding. That's all I have for now, as it is written, and I'm out.